Commissioner Hadfield is our chair, but he is on the phone, so he's asked me to conduct the meeting from our location. You still there, Commissioner Hadfield?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. I will offer an invocation and then our Pledge of Allegiance. I don't see Rod here. Dale, would you pinch hit today? Sure. Thanks, sir. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity to be gathered here today for this commission meeting. We'd ask that the Spirit be here with us, that we can discuss the needs of the members of our community here in Box Elder County, and that we can do the best for them to address these needs and to help further the wonderful things that are happening here in our county. I ask a special blessing to be upon those that are serving us in law enforcement and the military, that they be protected and safe in their duties. Please watch over our families as we're away, and please especially bless those that are struggling with sickness or through other trials at this time. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please stand, follow me in the pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay. Did everybody receive the minutes that Jesse sent out for our October 7th meeting?
Yes.
The only thing I can see that they actually had Scott something, but it's Scott Pella. It was like Scott Bellet or something. That's the only thing I can see that was. Yep. That was the only correction that I could see. So I'd make a motion that we can pass those with that amendment.
Oh, was that on the use of the fairgrounds?
No, this was, oh yeah, on the use of the fairground, Bar J Wrangler.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
listed as Scott Belknap.
Yeah, I knew it was B.
Okay.
Close.
All right.
So I'll make that motion. Do we approve those minutes with that correction?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, very good.
Did you hear that?
And there you have it.
Say it again.
Well
She
done,
was
Marla.
surprised that I read them. She goes, you actually read the minutes? I'm like, of course I read the minutes.
All right. Let's see. Any former agenda items or anything that we need to take care of from prior meetings?
Boy, I don't think so.
I don't have anything.
I can't think of anything.
Just those two coming off today though, right?
Okay.
What were the times for those, Marla?
Yep, 12:15. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, very good. Okay, we've still got fire issues on here.
Luckily we don't
We're
have
okay.
any. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
A lot
okay.
of other places are on fire.
I wanted it taken off a long time ago, but we've still had issues, so we've left it on. It's supposed to cool down quite a bit on Thursday, but I don't know if we're supposed to get any weather, any precipitation.
Yeah, we're
but
supposed to get some precipitation on Saturday, so.
yeah, just be safe out there and remind your neighbors. One of the biggest problems that we're having right now in relation to the fire starting is either safety chains on vehicles, ATVs, the exhaust getting too hot and going through dry grass, or shooting when the bullets are discharged, ricochets. It's warm. It's still fairly warm out there, but it's definitely dry. And so just be careful with that. Emergency management, primarily COVID, our numbers are high. We were at 40 active cases around September 1st, and in about 7 weeks, we're sitting at about 240 between 240 and 250 active cases. So we've had about a 6-fold increase in 6 weeks. And speaking with the health department, primarily due to people heading back to school, and then people are also indoors now and in close proximity, and so that happens. The governor has changed the guidelines or the way that this is being looked at.
Move the goalposts.
Yeah. Yeah, there you have it. So we're not colors anymore. We're low, medium, and high. And so with the number of cases and where we're at, we are in the medium. If our case count continues to go this direction, we could be moved into high fairly shortly. These new guidelines do give us more latitude at the local level to make exceptions and variances. But if they do kick us into the high, I don't know how much that'll matter, to tell you the truth. So what we're asking is to continue to social distance, continue to be smart, take care of yourselves, take care of your families. But most of the cases that they saw initially during this upsurge were college age, 18 to 25-year-olds, and those numbers went down a little bit. But it looks like that's where it started, and then as they migrate and go to work in different places and family, it just
Go
kind
home for
of
the weekends.
spread. And so that's
But the death rate is down,
down.
Which-
Yeah.
which helps a ton. So
Yeah, the problem that we're having right now is our ICU admittances are up, and so if that continues to trend forward as we go into the cold weather, that's the concern, is overloading those beds, and then if there's any kind of a catastrophe or anything else comes along, there's just not enough capacity to deal with all the people that may need ICU. So be smart, be careful. Stay 6 feet apart.
it's
We'll
been
get it
okay with
figured
my
out.
wife. She says she's good with that
She's wishing that would have been a directive for her.
for a long time, for the last 32 years.
Okay, on that note, we'll move on in the agenda.
Hey, I was just going to tell about 2 cool things. Our thing yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We actually had a representative from the White House come here yesterday for opportunity zones, and they picked Brigham City to roll it out because of the good things that are happening down on the Union Block with Dave Walker's facility down there. So the White House has actually partnered with UAC on a playbook to try to help rural communities with opportunity zone and economic development. And between the two, it was almost a $600,000 grant. So it was good to see. And if you ever get the chance to listen to Scott Turner, what an amazing guy. Former NFL defensive back, played on different teams for about 8 years.
Redskins
San Diego.
and the Broncos.
Yeah, and the Broncos. But he actually interned for a congressman while he was playing in the NFL. So you can kind of see where his heart's at when it comes to public service. And he was so excited about the good things that this has been able to do to help jumpstart the economy in rural America. It's been amazing. And honestly, he got to the point where at the one point he said, "Can I get an amen?" during the whole presentation, and the whole crowd, well, I shouldn't say crowd, there was only probably 15 of us, but it's just good to see good people that are interested in helping communities like that. So anything else did you think got out of that meeting?
Other than, we're very fortunate. If you drive through a lot of small towns around this country and even certain places in Utah, the downtown, the Main Street, it's dying. And we have very few vacant buildings on our Main Street compared to other locations. And this is really helping. It's helping infuse capital into some of these areas that's desperately needed. And
it's private money.
it is.
That's
yeah.
the thing. It's not government money.
No.
It's actually capital gains taxes that haven't been actually utilized, and they're coming off the sidelines, and they're doing some really good things with that money in opportunity zones. So
Yeah, so it was a great event.
and then I got the opportunity last night to go out with a bunch of mayors and went to the Tremont City. They had their meeting last night, and it came through the city mayors about how much good work that the officers are doing throughout the county. And they presented Tremont and Garland with a big plaque and just thanked them for their work. And they're going to get to all of us in the next little while. So Sheriff's Department would be expecting that to happen. They're going to come and do that too. And, you know, we've made ourselves a Second Amendment county, and we'll always be a law enforcement county too. And I think it's recognized throughout not only the state, but the nation. So we appreciate all the good work that our people, and we know that other people are looking at us and to make policy. And I think it's a good thing because we have good people taking care of us. So thanks, you guys. Okay, I'm done.
Amen. There's your amen.
There's my amen.
Okay, very good. All right, anything, Commissioner Hatfield?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right, very good. Okay, we will move to our first item on the agenda, and welcome Beth Smith. Beth is the CEO of Bear River Mental Health, and they get to present an area plan to us each year, and so this is our 2021 area plan. So,
Right. I was kind of procrastinating coming this year because of COVID. This is the first public meeting that I've been to.
Will you grab that microphone and get it right towards you so everybody
I
can
have a spouse with a pretty compromised immune system, and I was a little nervous about coming on site, but I feel good.
Good.
I feel safe. Thank you. Before I forget, I want to start with a shout out for Jeff. I want you all to know that he is present. He is on our board of directors, and he is working hard for us and doing an awesome job. I think he has been with us for about 5 years. Is that accurate?
I think so.
And I want him to be there for as long as I'm there, which is at least 3 more years. So do what you can to make that happen.
You'll be longer there than I will be here, so
No.
you've got me.
No. When you were talking sports, I just couldn't help but think, how about those Dodgers last night?
Oh,
My
there you go.
goodness. Maybe
Oh,
this is
Cody's-
their year.
Cody's gone.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did.
darn it.
Yeah,
We're
that's
actually
it.
Cubbies fans, but, you know, when it's not the Cubs, we go for the Dodgers. And
Thank you.
anyway, okay. So the purpose is for you all to approve our area plan this year, and I just wanted to give you a quick review. The area plan is created from division directives, which is created from the legislature. We submitted our area plan June of 20 this year. It goes to the division. They do their thing, and then they send it back. And then in that process, we actually have to have it signed before we can get around to the counties. And that's why I'm here. It's a document that tells you what we do and ties the funding that is associated to those services in the document as well. It's a very long document, which is why we're not printing it anymore. The division is not printing it anymore. It's online, and I do have the link for the document for you. I'll give that to you in just a sec. When you log in, which I know you will, and read every word, you'll see that there is different color for new text. So the new things should be in a different color. I did want to start really quick, and I'm just going to stick these up here for you to kind of follow along with me on just a really brief overview of mental health in Utah. This information came from the Gardner Report, which was a state commission report that involved a lot of players, including the Hospital Association and people assigned to the commission from the governor's office and from, mental health. The first graphic there indicates almost 1 in 5 Utah adults is experiencing some kind of a mental health issue. That's quite a few. The second one is children and youth 10 to 17. For them, suicide is the leading cause of death. And 60% of youth, 12 to 17, and over half of our adults who have a mental health issue don't get help for the mental health issue. And if that isn't bad enough, the final box, we have a provider shortage. Jeff has heard me talk about this a little bit in our board meetings. So every county in Utah is lower than the national average per 100,000. And that's a cartoon that is sitting there representing the graphic on that, and I in no way mean it to be funny at all.
No.
It just is showing we have a provider shortage, particularly here in Utah.
When was the last time that Bear River Mental Health actually employed their own psychiatrist?
Oh my goodness, that would be Dr. Canning, and he retired probably about 6 years ago. We have been more successful hiring APRNs.
APRNs.
We also have Dr. Red. You probably, you know
Phenomenal.
Dr. Red. I don't know if other individuals know Dr. Red, who came as a physician. He's not a psychiatrist. So we kind of trained him up, but it's been really helpful having his physical health knowledge to spread to those APRNs. We actually did just hire another APRN, so we're one up on the APRNs, and we were so happy to get that individual. So particularly here in this Tri-County area, what we're seeing, our admissions for the last year were up 15%. And that was despite COVID hitting mid-March. We saw an initial kind of drop in services for, I would say, almost 2 months. And yet our admissions for the year were up. And this is an indication of need, how many admissions you have, and also how many crisis contacts you have. Our crisis contacts were up by 30% over the previous year, and that is also despite COVID, and also despite the fact that UNI, which is University of Utah Neuropsychiatric Institute, was given the money and the responsibility for taking all crisis calls as a first point of contact. So the calls go to them, and then they hand them back to us if they can't resolve the issue. And still, our crisis calls or our crisis response codes are up 30%. I have to say a little bit about suicide. Utah, our Tri-County area, which is Box Elder, Cache, and Rich, is actually slightly underneath the state average for 2019. The number is 21 per 100,000. The state average is 25 per 100,000. The one thing that we can say as Bear River Mental Health is that of those 21, very few of them, I can only think of one last year, but I didn't actually do the research, was Bear River Mental Health. And I would like to think that if we get a hold of them, we help them, and we keep them safe, and we keep them alive.
Do you think the national number is going to help at all? So now that it's been signed into law?
Possibly.
I mean, anything out there is probably good, better than nothing.
Exactly. The one drawback, and it's kind of my own feeling, I kind of liked it better when people could call us direct because they can get someone right now. Right now, it's set up that they have to do a 2-tiered system into our SMR, which I'll talk about later. They don't get directly to us. And frankly, we're not getting a lot of referrals back from the uni system.
Okay.
I think the police are getting those calls, but they're not making it back to Bear River Mental Health.
Okay.
State hospital beds are completely full all the time. This will be a legislative issue talked about this year, and the waiting list is as long as the beds we have. We have 8 beds, and there's always 8 or more people on the waiting list for state hospital beds. In Box Elder specifically, we served 1,400 individuals this last year. 58% of them were adults, 42% of them were children and youth. I'm happy with the number of children and youth being served in Box Elder County. I was at the governor's Ready Resilient conference where they gave a quote that I thought was so appropriate. Something related to serving children now saves trying to fix broken adults. And that's what I like about seeing high numbers of children's services. 57% were female, 43% were male. So on to the area plan. What are we focusing on this year? The first item, and Jeff knows how excited I am about this one. We've been talking about this for about a year now. Bear River Mental Health was given MCOT funding with the legislative session last session. Then COVID hit and they took the money away.
And
But then
MCOT stands for
Mobile Crisis Outreach Team.
Okay. We love our acronyms.
Oh, and this mental health organization is where you see them most. Anyway, kind of at the midnight, they ended up giving us the MCOT money back. And so we very quickly went to work to try and staff up and get ready to start providing this service. You remember us talking about S1R, that's the children version, where we deploy a professional and a case manager to where the crisis is. A lot of times police get called out and they're left to deal with situations because we can't send just one person alone into somebody's home. Right. These programs allow us to pay for 2 individuals to go out and deal with the crisis where the crisis is. They provide relief and support for the police, who are generally untrained in mental health emergencies. It's a less costly approach, $380 per event versus $9,000 if the person ends up in the emergency room or if the person ends up in the inpatient unit. They divert people also from jail who might be inappropriate for jail. So we're combining those two. They're serving as support for each other. In November, we'll be training your police officers relative to how MCOT works and how we can support them. We'll go out, they'll make the situation safe, and then we can stay and deal with the crisis, and they can leave, or they can go around the block and wait, or anyway, we'll be talking to them about that. The other few things that we're doing that are a little less big, we're putting a lot of effort into that MCOT team. In Logan, we've piloted a program that is also with the desire to help support crisis response. We partnered with several agencies who serve the same clients that we do. But the problem is we can't share information across agencies because of HIPAA. So we got together, and the first thing we did is came up with an information release that works for all agencies. And no matter where the client comes, if we can get that signature, now we can start working together as multiple agencies. There are two groups. One is a clinical group that talks about the clients and talks about treatment planning around the clients and serving them better as a community as opposed to siloed systems. If this works, we're going to bring this over to Box Elder County and kind of ask for a similar partnership. It doesn't cost you extra money. It just costs people time to participate, basically. We have written into our area plan increased CIT training. That's for police officers to help them understand mental health issues better. We have really thrown a lot into telehealth services. We had a side benefit right before COVID hit because we were coming off a pilot program where Bear River Mental Health was the one rural center selected. We had to compete competitively for this money to go out and provide telehealth services in schools. And I want to stop and thank Box Elder County. Brigham City didn't really want to play in the sandbox with us, but we were able to get into like the Garland schools and Bear River area and out to Grouse Creek. And then all the way over to Rich County and those remote schools over there, and several schools in Logan. The first year, just to give you an example, there was a rural center and an urban center. The urban center is a large center. 66 individuals were served that first year, and that's because we found out late that we got the money. And 65 of them were Bear River Mental Health clients. So we showed good stewardship over the funds that were entrusted to us. Anyway, what we ended up from that was having the knowledge once COVID hit and the software and the equipment to move 75 staff out to telehealth service. And we did that very efficiently and very quickly. And now we're equipped pretty much, if the client wants to, we can serve any client telehealth, mental health. And that's an access to mental health benefit. We have written a grant because this is also another area of need that I've seen through the Commission on Criminal and Juvenile Justice, that's CCJJ, to try and provide more services to individuals who have been involved with the justice system. That includes putting a little bit more time in our jails. We have such a limited ability to go into the jails because we're not directly reimbursed for that. So this grant would allow us to have more time in the jails, to help us pay for CIT coverage for police officers, to help us serve on those crisis coalitions. And our mental health court grant funds don't carry us throughout the whole year. They don't cover our clients throughout the whole year. And so this individual would take on any client who is unfunded through Medicaid or unfunded through mental health court. And we'll try and serve more of those clients to help keep them out of jails and keep their recidivism lower. We have brought on case managers to help follow hospitalizations, to make sure that they're discharged when it's no longer medically necessary and that they have the follow-up that they need once they come out of the hospital. Many of them we know are going in, but sometimes people get hospitalized who we don't know. We haven't had any contact with them. And they are the ones that we need to engage in follow-up services. We've hired an eligibility specialist. Medicaid enrollment is really hard. It's hard for people to do, and it's hard for people to stay on. So we have someone who can help us get people on Medicaid and help them stay on Medicaid. We're also doing more in terms of grant seeking to try and help find funding sources for people who can't pay. The telehealth pilot program was an example of that. The CCJJ grant is an example of that, and we'll continue to try and watch for those grants. We have put money into therapist salaries to try and retain. Jeff was a part of that process, and we hope it's enough. If it's not, we'll probably be trying to do more of that. We need more and a better workforce. More and more of our applicants are just out of school. And what we're finding is they'll come and work for us while they get their licensure hours for free, and we pay them to do supervision, and then they leave just as soon as they get their license. So we're looking at ways to try and incentivize them to stay for a little bit to make that investment worth it. We have this year really focused on community education by enhancing our presence on social media. And this is where I want you to all go in and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. We try and do about 3 posts a week. They're more in education, not necessarily in terms of trying to get more clients, but just put the word out. Our website also is undergoing a redesign. The self-assessment tool that is on the current website will stay on the new website, so clients can go in and do a self-assessment relative to their mental health, and they'll know whether or not they need to seek help. And we're also participating in a continued integration project with the health department, substance abuse, and the FQHC and mental health. Some people who go to see their physician are discovered to have mental health issues, and we need to collaborate better. And some people coming into mental health have physical health issues, and again, we need to collaborate better. So we're putting effort in there. For the risk of being too long here, and I'm sorry if I have been, I just want to say that we have a lot of staff who are working really hard, doing really hard work. It's hard work. And we appreciate the support that Box Elder County gives us. That dollar that draws down the $2 of state funds, that draws down $7 more of federal money is so valuable to us, and it helps us provide the services that we are providing. It just feels like it's not enough. Anyway, with that, if you have questions, I can answer them, or if not, we'll probably need an official vote to accept the area plan.
I will make a motion that we accept the Bear River Health plan for 2021. Mental health for 2021.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Beth, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have
Thank
any
you.
questions. I've had the opportunity to hear this, and I enjoy hearing the progress, and especially the stories that come in from time to time about individuals that are helped and the progress that they've made in the community. So
Right.
thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. Okay. Penny, can I ask you a favor? Would it be okay if we had one come in front of you?
Yes, that's
Okay. We have one item on the agenda later that we'd like to move up. They've got another commitment that has popped up, and they need to hit Salt Lake quick. And so if we can do that, let's go ahead and we'll have Brandy. Do you want to bring your team up here, and we'll go to there. So we're at, here we go, economic development.
Well, it's great to be back in Box Elder County for the second day in a row. This
There
is
you go.
awesome. Love being here. Thank you for having us. I have with me today Jake Garfield and Zeke Lee on our team who have assisted with the deployment of the Box Elder County Small Business Grant. Catherine Rhodes on staff also helped with this, so they've kind of been behind the scenes coordinating with the Chamber of Commerce. And
Your
reviewing
name for the record is?
Brandy Grace.
Okay. Have to get that on the recording. Thanks, Brandy.
Thank you. So they've been behind the scenes as the applications have been coming in, screening them, making sure that they're compliant with the guidelines that you set out for the program. So we're here today to report that the deadline for submitting applications was Friday at 5 o'clock. There are, from that initial screening as a recommendation, there were 75 grants that we feel meet the criteria that you had defined, and then an additional 12 where there's some additional information that is needed that we'll follow up on. One of the questions that has come up relative to that is we set criteria in order to identify a business loss based on the pandemic was in comparing the same time period during 2019 to 2020. There is not a requirement that a business had to be operating at that time in 2019, just that you identified a loss. Several of these 12 applications are businesses that were startups, which my personal opinion is that, you may want to reconsider offering some assistance to them. Of the 75 that we are recommending funding, the total dollar amount is $563,878, another $99,400 in requests. And I'd like to turn some time over to either Jake or Zeke, both, if you have additional comments or things that you think the commissioners should consider, and to share with you the documents that we have that provide this report.
Okay.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Jake Garfield. I work at UAC, and just something I wanted to mention is that a lot of these companies also got loans or grants through federal programs, either through the Paycheck Protection Program or for the EIDL program. At first we were really tracking how much of these funds these companies had already received through these other federal programs, but on further consideration, we thought that those programs were designed for other purposes. They were designed to allow companies to meet payroll during the really difficult time of these pandemic-induced shutdowns, while the purpose of these small business grant programs is to inject cash into the community because of a loss of revenue, which is not the purpose of the Paycheck Protection Program or these other programs. So that's why many of these companies, though they have received these grants, we recommend that they would still be eligible for up to $10,000 through the county's small business grant program. And again, as Brandy mentioned, there's some other companies there that we need some additional information from. Some of them are startups. Others have there's maybe some additional questions where they requested money that exceeds the amount of losses that they estimated. Other companies just had a difficult time estimating losses, but it may be the case those companies still merit a grant from the county, and so we'll be following up with those businesses.
Okay. And looking at that, I honestly wouldn't have a problem with maybe going with a round 2 and seeing if we can't, not only engulf some of those other ones into this process and kind of take a look and see if the startups are actually okay with that. And I see Monica back in the back. I think if we put it out for round 2, maybe some of these other businesses, might step up and actually realize that, that what we focused on, and maybe some other ones will be able to get through. Are there any ag businesses that are associated with this too? Have they been able to get the word out? I haven't seen much on the ag department part of it, so.
There were a couple, not very many ag businesses requested.
So I'm wondering if we should reach out to Josh Dallin and the USU people that are here and maybe make sure we get that out to some of the ag departments and push this out. I don't know, what do you think, Commissioner, about round 2?
I think so. Get it out through maybe Clint as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, is Clint Hill with the conservation districts and whatnot.
The other thing to keep in mind is that Treasury guidelines continue to evolve through this process. There were frequently asked questions an updated frequently asked question that came out just within the last couple of days. And it really does clarify that the dollar amount is really based on the governmental entity and what you foresee the needs of your community being. So although you had set a limit of $10,000, that's not a requirement, certainly something you could reconsider.
Okay.
And as staff has done the review, one of the things that they pointed out is that several of the applications, even through their comparison of a profit and loss statement from last year compared to this year, identified a much more significant loss than $10,000. That was just the maximum you had identified. So if you would like, we could go back and summarize
take it out.
that and give you a better idea
I
of
think
what the
that's-
asks were or what
think
they
that's a good
identified
idea,
loss
too.
to be.
Okay.
And you may reconsider the threshold of the $10,000.
Yep, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking down through here, and some of these businesses are extremely small, and so the amounts are relatively small, commensurate. But there are some names on here that are big, and I know that their losses were probably 10 to 20 times what's here easily. So, okay.
Yeah, I
And
think
what
we
it
should do
appears
both.
to us, based on initial dollar amounts that we had been in conversation with you on, as far as what that fund would look like, we've not met that limit yet. I believe there's still an effort from your cities to
Yeah.
also pool the funds for this. So our recommendation would be, first of all, to get your approval to go ahead and release funds to these that we've determined qualify, and then to begin a second round of funding.
Okay.
Yep.
Steve, I have a question. If we decide on the second round, if we want to increase, can we go ahead and do that and not have any legal issue where we had it limited a little bit more on the first round, increase the amounts a little bit more on the second round? Is that a problem?
I don't know if I can answer that question because I'm not sure what the parameters are. I don't know.
I think we can up it. We just have to be able to do it.
I think you can up it. What I would suggest is that you look at the initial applications and then make a decision whether you want us to reach out to them and have them submit a new application, or just reconsider the threshold based on what they've submitted, where they already were required to identify a loss. So we should have that information.
My suggestion would be to do a second round and allow the initial applicants to come in up to the new threshold if it happens to be higher than what their loss was,
Okay.
because we've already got their information,
On
and
the second round.
that won't take a lot of additional staff time, but it may help them out. And then I agree, there's a lot of businesses that were probably missed in ag that we can get it out to. So
Okay. Well, our need is, and we can work with Auditor Cotter on this, but we don't have the funding yet. There were questions asked during the application process, how quickly funds would be received. Our commitment to you was once we had funds available to us,
To cut the
that
checks.
we would cut the checks within 5 business days.
Okay.
And so that's the next step that would need to happen in order for us to
okay.
Okay.
go ahead and release those funds.
Yeah, because we've got the first 2 tranches. Do we know when the third one's coming in, Tom?
Third one's
I
here.
don't know if the state set a specific day yet, have they, Brandy, but
We were talking about the 26th, so it should be coming relatively soon.
So as early as next
The 26th was
week.
the date that we had
Okay.
been working with executive appropriations.
And I see all these dates being extended for the plain fact of everything else is going on. So, I mean, we're getting to the point where we're thinking we're gonna have to get this done, but honestly, my somewhat pea-brained opinion that stuff will actually be extended because of the things that are happening on a national level. So,
Yeah.
okay, we get done what we can do.
Did you
Awesome.
have documents for them, Zeke?
I had it, so
Okay.
it's just like this statement.
The statement just clarifies where the funding's coming
Okay.
from and our role in it.
Okay. I'd go back, like Commissioner Scott said, and let's take a look at those and let's do a second one
Okay.
and push it out there, and see if we can't get it out to ag and everybody else that's happening. So I think that'd be important.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
I
Are
think
you
so.
okay with that list? Do you need to take official action to, or you want us to just?
Come on up,
proceed?
Mitch.
So from a process standpoint, one of the things that we talked about doing was using our new CED board to review these as well from the county standpoint before. And I don't know if Commissioner Hadfield wants to talk about that or not. That was his suggestion, so.
That was something that we felt would be helpful, and most everybody on the board, when we sent out the email, replied and said they'd be willing to help out as far as to approve or make sure that the ones that were fitting were good. So, I mean, we can use them.
So Hatfield, if they've already fit the criteria we put together, is there any reason that unless we have got some other questions on other
There's
businesses?
not. I mean, I don't want to be redundant.
That's what I was just going to say. It seemed to me like we've already been approved.
And they
with that.
qualify. My understanding is that they were going to get the applications and maybe give us suggestions and have us go through it. But if they've already approved them with our criteria, then that's great.
Okay. And if you want to go through the new criteria with your board and see what goes on with the new part of it,
That would probably be good to do that.
and just tell them we're
we
going
can
to
get out in front
expand
of
it,
that
go to
one.
round 2, and then see what we can get out. But as of right now, I'd make a motion that we, proceed with what the UAC has just told us and try to get this done with Tom as soon as possible with this money.
I'll second that motion.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Probably after we we've already set a motion and called a vote, so it's up to you, Chair.
I'm fine. Any additional discussion?
So just from the agenda standpoint, what we've got on the agenda isn't to approve or to not the list. And I don't know, Steve, if there's anything more you want to talk about that or not, but what we're talking about is how much money are we going to set aside for this program? And that's kind of what the agenda item was for. So
Well, I think
anyway, my 2 cents. Thanks.
Well, I think we need to get out as soon as possible. So, what do you think, Hatfield?
Well, we initially said we have $1 million, and we haven't even reached that threshold yet. And so,
So I thought we'd already had that taken care of. So,
yeah, we go with that. And then if we do get more, then we need to address this interlocal agreement with the cities and deal with that as far as getting their funding to help out with
the rest
some
of
of
it.
these.
Okay.
Yeah, the 1 million is the number that I remember talking about as an initial allocation, and obviously we're not anywhere close to that. And so if we go with the second round, we may butt up against that, but there may also be some money that comes in on the interlocal agreements that can be specific to those areas.
And we'll do that later
So
in the agenda. So,
okay.
My motion still stands.
You want to repeat that motion?
I can't remember it.
Okay. To
approve the funding.
approve the funding of the requests that meet the requirements.
Criteria
today.
through UAC. Yep.
Okay. All right. And Tom, with the amount that we've received, we're more than able to meet that before that third tranche comes in anyway. Okay. All right. Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Very good.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Okay. All right. Penny, sorry about the delay. You guys are worth the wait. Come on
Thanks,
up.
UAC. Thanks, you guys.
Safe travels. Thanks.
Sorry. We just like to have you here and smiling and
I'm fine.
pull that mic right up to you so everybody can hear you.
Okay, that good?
There you go.
Okay. Thanks for having us. We
Thanks for
appreciate it. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you for having us back. I'm not going to talk about a lot of statistics. I think we have enough gloom this year with COVID.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank, always I want to thank our partners in law enforcement. Box Elder County Sheriff's Department does an amazing job working with victims, and we appreciate their work very much. I always hear good things about the officers that do the work, so we appreciate them. And Sheriff Potter, when we are able to have meetings, we haven't this year, but he's always very actively involved with all our meetings that we do have. So we appreciate his work too. I want to thank all of our staff at the New Hope Crisis Center. They're amazing, and they have not showed any hesitation this year in the work that we've done. It's been a rough year, and they have not hesitated in the work we've done in working with victims and helping victims. They've worked with them diligently. They went to hospital calls, helped rape victims. They worked with every victim that comes in. We've been open all year. Our shelter's been operational all year, and we've been housing people all year. And I think that's important for everybody to know, that we're still there and we're still able to operate safely and help people safely. And we really want people to know that they can still seek the help that they need. So we want everyone to know that. We've had, I kind of wanted to share a success story because I think those are important to hear sometimes, and especially when we, like I said, when we've had such a hard year. We had a victim that came once before in for services, and as they do, she went back to him, and that happens. She came in. This time she was able to leave when he was out of town on business, and she came seeking our services again. Her and her children ended up coming into our shelter. They got all the services. She ended up getting a protective order. They were very much in fear. She had been physically, sexually, verbally abused by him. Her and her children had actually been imprisoned sometime in their home, like in a room in their home by him. So it was very serious abuse. But the success was they were able actually to, this time, escape the abuse. She was able to actually find employment and a safe home. We had her actually stop in not very long ago. Her and her children came in, and there wasn't honestly a dry eye in our office, I think, because she came in to thank us and tell us that they were all safe and happy. She has a job, she has a new home, and I think we can all say those are the stories that we want to hear and we don't hear often enough. So that's a good story, and those are the stories we want to hear.
Will you please put up the website and your phone number for everybody, so when they start listening to it, that they'll be able to contact, so when they go through this, will you just say that out loud?
Our website is at newhopecrisiscenter.org. They can find it there. Our phone number is 435-723-5600. We're open 24/7. There's always an advocate there. Always somebody.
And your address is?
435 East, 700 South, here in Brigham City.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to ask that you declare, I'm going to read this now and ask that you guys. So whereas 1 in every 3 women in Utah will experience domestic violence during her lifetime, and whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and domestic abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law, and whereas fleeing domestic violence has caused women and children to be the fastest growing homeless population, and whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for the community to recognize this issue and the many victims of this terrible crime, and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy services and assistance to victims. Therefore, we ask that the commissioners for Box Elder County urge our residents to work together to eliminate domestic violence from our community, and hereby declare October 20th as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Box Elder County, Utah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to give you other good news.
Sure.
Box Elder County, we applied for a grant for homelessness, and we were just awarded $275,000
Wow.
Really?
From the state or fed?
from the state.
From the state. That's good.
That's awesome.
Well, and I think it's federal money though, so it'll pass through the state. But so it's going to come through our agency. So
That's great.
it's had money. So we'll be able to have that and hopefully help some people through rapid rehousing and emergency shelter with our agency.
That's awesome.
So that's good
Very
news
good to know.
for the whole county.
Great news.
So
Okay.
I thought
Excellent.
hopefully we gave a little happy news in this year of COVID.
No, that's awesome.
No, that was much better. Thank you.
Been a lot of sad statistics.
No,
this
you're
year.
good.
All right.
And I'd make a motion that we approve October for Domestic Violence Abuse Month.
Awareness.
Second.
Awareness, sorry.
There we go.
I'm not promoting.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, we have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope, are we gonna see, is it pinwheels? Will you guys do pinwheels this year?
That's for child abuse prevention
Oh, okay.
in April.
Sorry.
Yeah, we keep hoping
That's
that
okay.
this
We like that month too, Stan.
we keep hoping that this won't be an issue and that this will not be declared anymore. But
Yeah.
We do too. would like to see it end.
Thanks for your hard work.
We appreciate all your work, Penny. Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Carrie, thanks, ladies. Okay, Jenica.
Brock?
Oh, sorry.
Brock
It
about.
skipped right over. Sorry, Brock.
No, we're good. That was a double.
I saw you there.
Brock. I seen you balk.
He's like, please.
That's for you, because that's what I do.
Really? Oh. Thank you. You guys have been busy.
That's right. I got you. So we received a grant from the state to replace.
You got to tell us your name and
I'm Brock Butler with the GIS and Surveyor's Office.
there you go.
So we received, this is the first time in the hot seats. We received a grant from the state to replace section corner monuments along Highway 13, also known as 5200 West. Kind of our criteria for selecting those monuments, we have 10 of them. And those monuments, they're in UDOT right away, so it's a heavily trafficked area. They're hard to get to. They haven't been visited in 30, 40 years or updated in 30, 40 years, most of them, because
Wow.
they're hard to get to. And so they're also, with the regular road maintenance, they're also in danger of getting ripped up by the road graders. So we'd like to replace those. A lot of them are just kind of railroad spikes or have been ripped up entirely. So we're just looking to replace those with ring and cover monuments. So it protects them and also makes them easier to get to for the surveyors so they can update their coordinates and things that way. So we're just looking for your guys' approval on the contract. And then Chad also wanted to check and see if you guys are fine in the future, if the department head can just sign up on the contracts, or if you want them to keep bringing it before the commission.
Because you just did 102, right?
Yep.
I know you just did.
Tremont, so this
Okay.
is the second round of that grant.
Okay, that's what I thought, because we actually helped push the bill through in the last session, so.
I personally have no problem. I mean, if the funds are there, to me, that's what it's to be used for, and it makes sense that it just be expended that way. And so it should be
Yep.
in my opinion, a department level approval.
Okay.
So,
Yep, and I agree, so.
not that we don't enjoy your visits.
I know.
I mean, this is good.
Yeah.
So,
And it's good you can come back and update us and give us stuff like this to show us what we're supposed to be doing, but that's amazing, because some people don't even have any idea or a clue how much this means
Yep, exactly.
to the area, so.
until they want a plot subdivided or want to build a house. So,
Well, you know, we've had some things just in the last little while with some subdivisions we're off 2 or 3 feet, you know, so
Yep.
when it comes to the point where this guy thinks he owns this ditch or he has that right away, you know, until this stuff, and like you said, 30, 40, in this case, it was almost 60 years
Yeah.
by the time it happened, but by the time they got out there, they were off 3.5 feet,
Yep.
so.
yeah. Would we be okay making that motion, or do we need to make a motion, Steve, for ongoing approval from the department head, elected official, where it's a grant that's specifically for that purpose?
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Okay, all right.
I'd start off with making a motion that we approve the Monument Preservation Highway 13, 5200 West, along with saying from now on that Chad would be able to just sign off as the department head on future programs.
Okay.
Do we need to approve that contract number?
20-46.
Second.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks,
Okay.
Rob.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Brock.
I have two items for you today. The first one is a resolution for the USIP annual members meeting. After some discussion, the resolution would appoint Jeff Scott as the Box Elder County representative for the membership meeting held on November 19th, and Commissioner Summers as an alternate. So,
Okay.
I will be there.
I'd make a motion that we pass resolution 20-13, representing for USIP annual membership meeting.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And then the next item is policy 7 change. This change would change section 7-6 regarding the vacation carryover for employees. It would change it to 240 hours per year that would be allowed to roll over on a calendar year basis.
Okay. I think that's a good change.
It was a suggestion that came up in our employee committee, our benefits committee, and I thought it was excellent, especially right now where it's a little tough for folks to take some time off, and so I think
Well,
it's
we were
needed.
kind of doing this on different basis for different, I think we were doing it for the sheriff's department and some of
Yeah,
these other people
one
that
time.
couldn't quite get their time off, so making it.
I'd make a motion, we approve policy 7 change.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. There are some other ideas that came from that committee that were excellent, and most of them were budget neutral. There were a few that had some minor costs that we're looking into, but the recommendation was anything that was budget neutral, we let the department heads and elected officials start to implement that immediately.
Great idea.
Some of it was flexible work schedules. There were a number of great ideas that came out of there. So we appreciate their thoughtfulness on that and their work. So,
Awesome.
okay, thanks, Jenica. Let's see,
Mr. Cotier.
Tom.
Discretionary. Tom Cotter with the County Auditor's Office. So what this one is, this is the process that we have every year. People come back through, they apply for abatements. We have some that do not qualify for the state's circuit breaker program or the county indigent program. However, per state code, counties, I'll just read what it says from the Tax Commission. Counties may instead allow an adjustment or deferral to any taxpayer who applies if the best human interest and interest of the state and county is served at the county legislative body's discretion. The taxpayer is not subject to age or income requirements, but greater transparency is required through public posting requirements. When considering a discretionary adjustment, it is the responsibility of the county legislative body to weigh the best interest of the individual, the state, and the county. It can be interpreted as human interest versus community interest, as taxes not paid by one person are spread amongst other taxpayers. The considerations given to one applicant must be applied to all applicants. Granting abatements, adjustments, and deferrals too leniently can result in lower collections over time and a higher tax rate for everyone else in a taxing entity. Discretionary adjustments may be for any sum less than the amount of tax due. So with that said, we had a few people that requested that we bring them before the commission for a discretionary abatement. With that, there were a few parcels. I provided the list to you. I can go through those individually if you want, or I don't know if we can just say that they're approved as the sheet states, or because the sheet will be part of the minutes.
We could probably just do that. So I actually had a question, since this is kind of new. Is there any way we could use some COVID money for some of this
No, we're not allowed to use COVID
until
for any property tax.
until the tax replacement thing comes through, if that happens?
Yeah. Currently.
All right,
Yeah, so-
currently.
On here, yeah, I read through there. There were some that were very close, and you had some recommendations in here. As I looked through here, I liked your recommendation. There was one that was just really close, and so that would be, the full approval. There were a couple that were off just a little bit, get them some help, but then there were some that clearly they had other issues or they just didn't need it. It looked like to me, and so I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at these,
Yeah,
but
and that's what I was just gonna actually bring up after that, was just to be able to see that if you, I don't know if you wanna actually read the recommendations, or Is that going to be a part of it also?
Yeah, the sheet that was sent to you will just
Okay.
be put into the.
Okay.
So I mean, the
Not
reason
just
we
those
have, so we have people who, for example,
There's 10 or 11 of them?
yeah, so one individual on here so they were over just by about $1,300. It is a 90-year-old who was on hospice, and her granddaughter and husband moved in to help with her, and their income is what put her over for the abatement. And just barely over. So we granted them a county abatement, which reduces her tax by 50%. Another one, an 87-year-old whose medical expenses are quite significant, over by a very small amount, and so we're granting her also a county abatement that would reduce it by 50%. We've had other people who were over by close to $100,000. They're stating, hey, we had to file for bankruptcy. We should be allowed an abatement. So we are recommending that they be denied, an individual like that. So that's kind of the spectrum you'll get, is the people who are very close, that are facing serious challenges. The abatement exemption programs are in place to help those individuals who need help.
Right.
We have no interest in seeing anyone lose their home through any type of process that the county's involved with. So I believe that with the intent of the program is to help those people who need help, that this recommendation is what we go with. And as always, these people have their appeal rights still in place. We will send letters out to those receiving their denial saying, hey, you were denied. If you would like, you can appeal that decision. So no one loses appeal rights. But anyway, with that said, I make the recommendation to the commission that we approve, that the commission approves as recommended the discretionary abatements for the 2020 tax year.
I was just waiting for Hatfield to jump.
Do you have any questions there, Commissioner Hatfield?
I don't. I'd make a motion to approve as recommended by our auditor, Tom Cotter.
With the discretionary adjustments on various parcels.
With the discretionary adjustments.
Second.
Very good. Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield, a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then the next one came off, and then just for clarification, I don't know if we're allowed, but with the UAC thing, talking to Brandy out in the hallway, so am I okay to send them $1 million?
If that'll.
UAC only receives, I clarified with Brandy, so they charge a 5% admin fee, and it is on the money dispersed. So if they don't disperse the $1 million,
Comes back.
it comes back, and they receive no admin fee for the.
From just what they disperse.
Yeah, as long as that's in place, I don't have a problem with it, so that it would come back. The one thing I would like on that, a caveat, is that there be a deadline that needs to be returned, no later than X date, so that could go into final CARES Act expenditures, so we don't get it on December 31st and not have the ability to use it locally. That would be the only request I would have.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Scott.
All right, our first item is a subdivision located up in the Beaver Dam area. It's just one lot. It's in a 2-acre zone, and they are splitting off 2 acres from a much larger parcel. It's located at 15370 north, 400 west. Like I said, 2 acres will be split off from a larger parcel. It has been reviewed by all applicable county departments and comes with a recommendation of approval.
I'd make a motion we approve the Cornbridge subdivision.
Corbridge.
Corbridge? Sorry, the microphone's got a shadow on it. Looked like
I have a
corn.
motion by Commissioner Summers, a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, second item I have is the county property in Tree Mountain area. This is a property that's been going through the surplus disposal policy or process. And we received the appraisal, and it came back as $61,500 for, I believe it's approximately 2 acres.
Yeah, almost 2 acres, right?
Yeah, just under 2 acres.
Just right behind the old hospital.
So, two things at this point. It's been through everything in the policy. At this point, the commission would just need to decide if that $61,500 is an acceptable price, if they want anyone else to review that appraisal. And the other item, the buyer would like to have a title search and title insurance on the property. I spoke with the title company who'd be preparing the deed to transfer ownership. They said generally the seller pays for that search and insurance premium, but it's either party can pay for it. The quote for that is $481. So I guess you'd need to decide, one, if the appraisal is acceptable, and then two, if you want to pay the title insurance, or if you would like to have the buyer pay that.
How do you gentlemen feel?
I think I'm reading your mind, so do you want to just say what you're going to think?
Well,
It's scary.
it did seem to come in just a little bit low to me, but it is back, behind.
Landlocked.
It is landlocked. I mean, you do have access to it, but it's not Main Street frontage.
No.
But where the individual approached the county to purchase it, my feeling is that if they want to purchase it, they can pay for the title insurance, because typically we just do a quick claim deed.
Right.
So if they want to have the
If they
added,
want it.
There's nothing in the disposal policy that talks about title insurance or anything like that. So if that's
Yeah.
an option they desire.
well, and it's a relatively low amount in comparison, and like I say, it's not typically the county's policy where we're going out and we're actively marketing real estate. And so where they came to us, if they want to purchase it, that would be my preference, is that they pick up the tab for that, because otherwise we could just do a quick claim deed.
Yep, and that's exactly what I was thinking too, so. And then that just puts it back on the tax rolls, and I think that's good for the county and good for the citizens, so.
So so that's clarified. If you're good with the appraised price, I guess if we could just get a motion accepting that and directing me to prepare the deed, I can have the deed prepared and recorded. And
Scott,
yeah.
what is your feeling on the appraisal price? Is it relatively close, even though it's maybe on the low side?
I mean, I'm not an appraiser, so it's really, I don't have any professional experience in that area. I looked at it. I looked at the comps, and I mean, it looks fair.
That's what I was just gonna say, Jeff, in that arena, and then that area, the price per foot was actually median.
Pretty
I mean,
As long as it's comparable, that's my only concern, but yeah, I would agree with that.
And it was independent, and so that complies with our surplus property policy, so. Okay. All right. Any other questions or discussion, gentlemen?
No, thanks for the work.
No,
Okay. All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion, we approve the SPD 20-02 and accepting the appraised value on that property.
second.
Would we need to put in the disclaimer of the price, and that they would pick up the title insurance as well?
I mean, in the motion may as well, and if you
Okay.
also just direct me to prepare the deed and have it
Okay.
recorded, I think that would
And then,
just
and to
streamline.
add to that motion that says that we direct staff to prepare the quick claim deed and make sure that they know that if they want the title insurance, then they have to pay for it.
Would that just be a
I'll second
warranty
that.
deed?
And the warranty deed, yeah.
Would that just be a warranty deed instead? Would it be a quick claim if they have the title insurance?
Yeah, it's up to them. See,
Okay.
warranty means we're warranting it, we're just
Right.
gonna get rid of it. We
Just a
don't
quick
want
claim, and then the title insurance is theirs. Okay,
it. Right.
very
And
good.
you also ought to include in there, direct them to complete the sale, not just prepare it, but complete the sale.
Oh, and direct staff to complete the sale.
Marley, you're going to make this all look good on the, aren't
Because I'm
you?
going to read your minutes.
Awesome. Okay. Did you catch all that, Commissioner Hadfield?
I did. I still second it.
All right, we're moving. Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Summers, a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for your work on that, Scott.
No, thank
That's
you.
been a long
Okay.
time coming.
Can I
Yeah,
get,
thanks, Scott.
can I get a signature on this?
Sure. You okay me signing your name, Commissioner Hadfield, or mine?
Well, you got the same first name, so it works.
One of the Jeffs.
Right here? All right. Thanks, Scott.
Where would that money end up? General fund?
Mitch?
Where would that money end up? General fund? Where will that money end up?
I think that's Tom, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was just kind of wondering if it was going to go back into, I don't know what that ground was.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be general, if it's municipal services. I mean, I'm assuming it would be general.
That's what I would guess too, but he.
I guess it depends on where that was held. So during the title search, if we find out how it was, how we got it, that would probably be something we'd ought to know. So
Okay.
make sure we put it in the right spot.
Okay. Mitch?
Okay, so this is the first of probably many interlocal agreements between cities and towns and Box Elder County. I do have a signed version from Perry, by the way. I just got it. So anyway, this interlocal agreement allows them to use some of their CARES Act funds for our business grant program that we've just talked about before. And I guess that raises the question that if Perry Cities, for instance, sends us $200,000 or $300,000 more, are we going to continue to try to get it out there? How do we want to do this?
Hopefully.
I guess it's the question.
My preference on that would be that it go into the pot and then that just be specified in the spending. And so I noticed a couple of names on the list that were specifically from Perry. And so just make sure that their funds are allocated towards those businesses first. And then anything that gets kicked back from UAC, hopefully it would be Box Elder County funds. And then we'd be able to spend those before the end of the year.
So I'm not sure how we would separate those funds if Perry City sends us these funds and we start sending them out. How do we separate it if we don't use it all? That's my question.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll worry about that when it happens.
Yeah, I think as long as it gets back here in a somewhat timely manner, I think we'd have time before the end of the year. But if, for example, they send us 200 and there's 200 plus expended that pertains to Perry, we wouldn't have an issue. But if it's not, then we'd have to work that out.
Yeah, our interlocal agreement
So-
doesn't say it needs to be spent in Perry or any other of the
Yeah.
other towns, by the way. So.
Well, but if
That
we
would
end
be
up
my
spending-
preference.
If we end up spending it for the health department and for other things, it just depends on what happens. Or if Bragg takes it over, I guess it wouldn't really matter. So, like you said.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got a resolution that would adopt the interlocal agreement, and you've got both those numbers. So.
Will these continue to the resolution? Will that be the same number for the other however many?
No, we'd have a different resolution for each.
Okay.
And Steve's taken a look at these and gone through this.
All right. I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 20-15 to interlocal agreement 20-47 between Perry City and Box Elder County to utilize CARES Act funding.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks for your work.
Here's
Thank you, Mitch.
the new original. So.
All right. Wow, and just like that, we're done. Okay. Let's see. Do you have the warrant register here? Was that all the PAs?
Yeah, there was 2.
Okay, not that I'm complaining, I'm just surprised.
But he's complaining.
That's not gonna last.
Okay.
Have we got any closed session?
I don't have any.
I texted.
Do we not have Marla's agenda item?
Yeah, they didn't get it back to her.
Oh, okay.
I texted Johnny about that, and I haven't heard back from him. So hopefully we'll get that before the budget. Or if you want to email him or whatever, because he did just kind of like grab me and talk about that.
Oh, okay. So you just fill these in, this kind of a template? Okay. He's gonna come in and sign a bunch of stuff, isn't he? All right, so I'll just go ahead and leave that, then we won't be crossing stuff out. Okay, all right. You okay with that, Jeff? I'm just gonna leave these resolutions for you to sign since your name's printed on there, and then we won't have to cross things out.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, sweet.
Was that it?
Okay.
We already did minutes.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chrissy, do you want to grab these?